Good morning. It's 6 a.m. and I'm here for an interview. Wouldn't a perfectly brewed cup of coffee be awesome? Of course it would. Just imagine a hot cup of coffee in a cool cafe setup. Wait a minute. I'm in front of... So wait, you're telling me I can do all of that and understand the tech that goes behind it through their CTO Ashwin Chandrasekar? Ding, ding, ding. God, that's perfect. Let's go. Oh, and welcome to Point Break.
And I introduced myself as the CTO of Third Wave Coffee. You would be surprised at the number of people who walked up to me and said that, hey, you know what, I started my business in your place. It was absolutely overwhelming for me.
A CTO of a coffee company, which is quite an uncommon designation. Why do we need a CTO for a coffee company?
So when I told all my friends that I'm joining as the CTO in Third Wave, they asked me if I'm the chief tea officer in a coffee company. Right? From Third Wave's perspective, we want to listen to our customers, understand what they want, keep improvising, and there is a process around that, and that is the new product development team.
Now everyone talking about how AI is implemented everywhere. But in a cafe outlet or in your line of operations, how much of AI is truly used and how much of it is actually impactful?
Like, that's a great question. See, AI at this point of time is very nascent, very, very new technology, right? So anything that we put in production, we have to be super careful about it. Customers are very used to that interface, and I don't see a lot of ways in which AI can play a huge role in completely disrupting that. When I got this cup of coffee from the barista, when she comes here, gives me the coffee, that smile, and asking that one question on, hey, how's your day, right? If a machine comes and asks me, I will not feel the same way, obviously, right? So you go talk to any friends group, one of the ideas that they would have gotten is, hey, let's start a cafe, right?
I also have that thought.
Right?
Always.
It seems very easy on the outward layer, but actually it is very difficult.
Good morning, Ashwin. Welcome to Point Break. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us. So first off, this is the first time for me, an interview at 6:30 a.m. with the CTO.
Right.
And that too in a beautiful cafe here. So Ashwin, I want to start my first question itself with the whole cafe culture, what Bangalore has set up. I mean, if you walk into any third wave outlet, you see a lot of VCs, founders, entrepreneurs. I mean, you name it. Anyone who wants to build, wants to discuss amazing things, they just sit and like hang out in third wave coffee.
Right.
And I think somewhere that is the cafe culture which is now growing.
Right.
So do you think this is the unofficial meeting place for Bangalore startups and the ecosystem as a whole?
Yeah. Before I answer that question, I'm super excited to be here, Vandana. Thanks for calling me here and doing this. So about the coffee culture itself, right? So they say cafes are the third place. By that they mean that the first place is the home where people feel totally comfortable. The second being the office where they're comfortable and they work. Yeah. The third place where they feel most comfortable. And that's the sort of aesthetic that we go for, right? Where they can come, they can work, they can have conversation with friends, family. A place where they're feeling absolutely comfortable is the cafe. And if you look at Bangalore as a city, and not just Bangalore, larger India, Bangalore sort of reflects the aspirations and growth of the larger India. A lot of these activities are happening right now. Friendship is a very big part of people's lives. Startups, discussions, possibilities, and cafe culture is growing with that. And in many ways, these cafes represent those aspirations and a place where you can come and have these possibilities discussed, and super happy that Third Wave is part of that journey in so many people's lives. So
that's nice. But interestingly, especially the startup ecosystem, right. I mean, there are also memes on it, how in Third Wave,
right.
Oh, you're here, you're going to probably start something. There are also jokes on how people are just sitting with a laptop and not required. But if you look at it, how did this originate? Like, what kind of caused this whole spur of, cafes versus say a brewery? I mean, why aren't we probably just hanging out there or a restaurant? Yeah.
Sorry, fundamentally, I think startups are short of resources, capital, everything, right? And for founders to come and sit in a place and have a conversation, build something together, like I said, the third place, right? Cafe is an ideal candidate. So case in point, even a couple of days back, I had gone for a founders meet just to have conversation with a few of them. And I introduced myself as the CTO of Third Wave Coffee. You would be surprised at the number of people who walked up to me and said that, hey, you know what, I started my business in your place. It was absolutely overwhelming for me. So if you look at it, founders in the early stage, they are short of resources. And for them to come in a nice AC place with good aesthetics, where their mind is clean and they're able to have a conversation. And of course, coffee, right? Coffee, initially when I started coding early in my career, they used to say that coders are people who convert coffee to code. Right? So essentially, coffee is the ideal candidate for especially tech startups to come and let their juices flow. I think in many ways the synergy is very natural, and that's why I think startup culture is very congruent with the cafe culture in Bangalore, especially.
Got it. So now talking about your profile,
Sure.
a CTO of a coffee company,
Okay.
which is quite an uncommon topic or a designation. I mean,
Right.
people don't associate a CTO in an F&B.
Right.
So can you tell me about your role?
Sure.
Why do we need a CTO for a coffee company?
Perfect. And I'm going to tell a running joke in my friend circle. So when I told all my friends that I'm joining as the CTO in Third Wave, they asked me if I'm the chief tea officer in a coffee company. Right. So anyway, so in my opinion is that see, technology itself, right, is an enabler for every business, whether it's a media company, whether it's a lifestyle company, apparel company, or a coffee company, right? Everybody uses technology. And if you look at even our core value proposition, technology plays a very critical role in maintaining supply chain adherence, maintaining operation adherence, and also it enables us to stay in touch with our customers in a very empathetical manner using mobile apps, etc. So while our first identity is the coffee itself, like when somebody thinks about Third Wave, they should think about what an amazing coffee place it is. Technology is an enabler for that, right? Now you, for example, right, this cup of coffee, you need to get it at a certain price. Now technology is contributing to that, ensuring that the supply chains are flowing in the right direction. We have the proper systems and processes and no deviations, so that no wastage happens and we are able to give the coffee at the best price for the customer, so that he or she is able to enjoy this. Well, we also as a business enterprise is able to meet our financial targets, right? So, and at the same time, there is compliance related stuff, like where we have to ensure that we are following the laws of the land while we are doing our business, and software and technology plays a huge role in that. And the last part of it, like I said, how do us as a company maintain the loyalty, maintain the close empathetic relationship at scale with all our customers? Technology is an enabler for that through mobile apps, wherein they can come and explore more about us. They can order through the mobile app, get loyalty points, also find out what's new, and various other engagements we do through technology. So definitely, I think technology makes sense for every company, and for a coffee company, definitely it makes a lot of sense.
But was this thought process always there? As in the past, did people kind of think that we need a separate person to just take care of it, or it was more of the role of an operations manager to take care of roles?
By the way, every competitor that we have, they all have CTOs also. So it is a conventional role in many ways. But having said that, the nature of the role and what it entails, what it encompasses, is on the expand, in my opinion. In a lot of ways, the role of the CTO and the CIO is sort of coming together, or the lines are very thin in a company like this. For example, I own the enterprise data strategy in Third Wave. I own the CRM, customer relationship management, as well as the engineering part of it. So you need to know the engineering part of it. Data engineering is not just about enterprise building the pipelines, but clearly understanding what the business needs, what the customers want, and ensuring that all the data comes and it's democratically available across the whole organization, so that the business can make more informed, better decisions that will give us a competitive edge. So that is also under the CTO in my organization. But essentially, if you look at a typical organization, that would be a CIO, and also CRM, customer relationship management, like how do you market or reach out to customers at scale. So all these things come under my portfolio. Essentially, it is between CIO, CTO, but the definition at this point of time, it's a CTO. Yeah.
So just if you could talk about the data part of it.
Sure.
So you do a lot of analysis. Obviously, you're looking at a lot of customer data and stuff. So all these data is acquired by your customers from Third Wave Coffee itself, or do you look at, say, customer data of other places, market studies? Like, how does it happen?
So yes, we do try to understand our customers in the most ethical way possible, right? So for example, it is very important for us to know what our competitors are doing so that we adjust and position ourselves in the market. But having said that, our data strategy primarily focuses on our customers, what is happening inside our business, and nothing gets lost out, right? Like for example, if you just imagine it like this, Vandana, like if the CEO were to sit in every of our stores, right, like all the 200 stores that we have currently, would the cafe happen the same way now that he's not in those stores, right? Now the job of the enterprise data team is to ensure that all the information from those stores flow in a seamless fashion into a common repository so that we are able to process it and make decisions or enable the people in the cafes, the store managers, the baristas, to do decisions as if the CEO is there in those cafes, right? And at scale, how do we reach out to our customers? How do we see where wastages are happening, opportunities to improve our supply chain? All this falls under the gamut of enterprise data engineering.
Okay. So are there any interesting, I don't know, any data or something that has been quite probably surprising or something that has led to certain decisions?
Absolutely. I think one thing that really stood out when I came in and started analyzing the whole data is the day part analysis. Mm-hmm. So we have cafes in Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, and various other cities, right? Yeah. Now, the behavior in South, for example, for a cafe like ours, the morning day part is not as active as it is in the north, for example, in Mumbai. So a lot more people come to our cafes in Mumbai in the morning day parts as compared to Chennai, for example, even Bangalore. So see, this is an example of a data point that I'm saying. So even in terms of what products people prefer across India, right? Like for example, the category, we have food, for example, pizzas, we have cold coffee, we have hot coffee, various other categories like desserts, etc. Right? So in different parts of the country, people consume it in a different way. What a cafe means to them means something very different. And as a business, because we are able to capture all this data, we are able to empower our leadership, operations, and various folks in the ground to make a more informed decisions that can cater to their local customers in a better way. Okay. So that was pretty fascinating, and the more and more we explore, we find out that there's more and more that we can learn from these data points.
Okay. So just a continuation to that interesting tidbit that you shared. So if like you said, in the city like Mumbai, where you would have more people in the morning, so what kind of decision changes would the outlet do? I mean, how is it helping?
It's a great question. It has a huge impact. So if you look at it, right, so we have breakfast at 150. For example, that's a offer that we extend to all our customers, where you can come have a coffee along with a food item for 150. Now, we know that in Mumbai, for example, the morning day part is more active. So the supply chain will adjust to it, right? Like, for example, if I'm not having enough breakfast at 150 and all those items over there, which means that the customer comes in and he or she might not get what they want, which means I'm disappointing a customer. But at the same time, in Chennai, if I stock up the same amount that I do in Mumbai, which means it'll all go waste, which means it is a P&L hit for me, and somebody has to bear the price. So how do we adjust the various dimensions of a business so that every cafe is profitable is a classic example on how we go about our business.
Okay. So Ashwin, we spoke about the customer bit. So what else does Third Wave do to kind of understand this or to come up with the new products? I mean, can you just tell me, like, do they have separate initiatives?
Yeah. I think, see, at the core of our value proposition is beverages, coffee to customers, right? Food and coffee, essentially. So we have a specific team for that called the new product development team, where we constantly observe what our customers want, what is the trend that is happening in the market, and we keep coming up with products that delight them, right? For example, there's a huge Korean wave that happened, and we understood that. We picked up the trends very quickly. We came back and we huddled up amongst ourselves, and we came up with a Korean bun. That was a huge hit amongst our customers. Even from a novelty perspective, right? You go to the same cafe, you get the same food for 10 years. Maybe works for some businesses, but from third wave's perspective, we want to listen to our customers, understand what they want, keep improvising, and there is a process around that, and that is the new product development team.
Okay, and so do you have like a dedicated lab or a team or
That,
something which works on new products and stuff?
that's right. That's right. We do have that. So a
Okay.
whole dedicated team who work on what are the products, what is the menu assortment that we need to have. We keep learning and we keep improvising on that. So that itself is a huge data play. So if you understand, right, like we have to understand the trends from the macro system in terms of what is happening, and micro system in terms of what our customers want, and develop products, roll it out, because it's big investment, right? For example, we come up with a certain product. Say, for example, we came up with this drink called Tandai, right? During the Holi Diwali kind of times. And now what happens is when you develop the product and you bring it into the market, so you have to understand that has a huge supply chain consequence. So the ingredients for the product, we have to buy it, make sure that it's available across the whole country, and it's in the store in the right place in the right quantities. If you over order, it gets wasted. If you under order, the customer wants tendai and it's not available. So we have to get the whole play right exactly so that the wastage is minimized and the customers are not disappointed. So every time a new product comes, there's a huge data play, and analytics play to get everything right so that it's financially sustainable.
Got it. Moving on to the next question, which is my favorite question as well,
Mhm.
the AI part of
Sure.
things. Now, everyone obviously talking about how AI is implemented
Right.
everywhere, but in a cafe outlet or in your line of operations, how much of AI is truly used and how much of it is actually impactful?
Like, that's a great question. See, I think about it like this. Like, for example, if you were in the 90s, you go to any sort of a restaurant, they'll probably write it in the bill and everything, they'll write it in a piece of paper and they'll give it to you. They'll maintain records of sales, everything in another notebook, and then they'll give it to you. And at the end of the day, you have to do the reconciliation with the paper and pen, and probably two people will sit and do it together, right?
Yeah.
And in many ways, probably that is the, if you look at the current cafes or any scalable business that you have, right? For example, a cafe chain that's across all of India, fundamentally it's because of technology, because we're able to use technology to standardize processes across a large space, right? Now, my point is every restaurant needs to have computers at this point of time. Even if you go to a breakfast place in the morning, they have a billing system and they do it. AI will be something very, very similar, right? Now, AI will definitely add value for every company, whether it's hospitality, QSR, or e-commerce, every business, right? And I personally believe that early adopters will get a competitive edge that can define their roadmap in a very, very significant way. To the second part of your question, is it really adding value to third wave? Definitely yes, right? In a couple of ways. So how I look at AI personally, at this point of time, at least my mental model, is there are two aspects to this, right? One is the customer facing touch points, how AI will play. Second is the business facing touch points. As of 2025, the technologies that we have, in my humble opinion, the customer facing touch points are likely to be lesser impactful than the back end AI technologies. What I mean by that is, for example, if I want to go to Amazon and buy some products, now I want to buy, for example, a t-shirt. Now, if I tell AI that, hey, can you help me buy a t-shirt? At the end of the day, it has to show you a list of t-shirts and then you'll have to pick it. And in many ways, that is already optimized with whatever is available already in the market currently, right? Any other experience that you have, the UI UX for applications or web applications that are available are very mature. Customers are very used to that interface, and I don't see a lot of ways in which AI can play a huge role in completely disrupting that. So you can introduce a chatbot, you can introduce a voice, but intuitively when I use it or when I see some of our customers using it empirically also, it might not have a very big impact. There will be some people who use AI to sort of place an order sometime in the future, but I still feel that most of it will stay pretty much the same. But on the back end part of it in businesses, I think it will have a much more significant impact in terms of automating it, automating workflows, in terms of reconciliation processes. A lot of laborious stuff that individuals had to focus for hours together to sort of get an understanding. Using AI, you will be able to run it at scale, optimize it so that you get the efficiencies of it. And that is where I think we are also betting pretty big so that we are able to expand pretty fast on that aspect.
Got it. Would you be able to discuss some of the products where, say, now AI is heavily enabled at third way? It could be on the customer front. It could be some agents that you use.
Sure.
Would you be able to throw some light on that?
So, see, at this point of time, quite honestly, right, like we have a very stable business. So I inherited, when I came into the company, a very stable business where a lot of systems and processes had already been set up, right? So when I came in, especially where I see AI being super useful, is automating reconciliation processes or putting that intelligence in the middle of all the tech that we have in the backend, so that it becomes easier for humans to process and find out. It becomes easier to find aberrations, and there is a more scalable way in which we can build intelligence into the systems, right? Mm-hmm. Having said that, AI at this point of time is very nascent, very, very new technology, right? So anything that we put in production, we have to be super careful about it. It's just that, they say this, right? If it is 90% accurate, it's still not great, because 10% of the time it goes wrong. And a lot of our businesses, the profit margin itself is only 10%. If it is 99.9% accurate, are you okay with that 0.01% being inaccurate, right? Some businesses, yes, and some businesses, no. So in our case, we are still exploring that in a good way. But having said that, we do have some production AI systems that are running. For example, the reconciliation process, right? So we have a lot of monies coming in from our partners, aggregators, etc. So all that monies, is it getting reconciled properly? We use agents to run through the whole thing and find out if it is happening properly. We are building, for example, we have a talk with your data sort of initiative where you, just like ChatGPT, you can come and ask some questions about the business. What was the sales in this place? What was the in this particular store? Or what was the sales in this whole region? And it's able to quickly assimilate all the data and give us information that is very useful for business in very quick time. What would have taken an analyst a day to prepare, right? Like getting this data from there, this data from here, assembling it and building a story and telling the leadership. Now, with just a few prompts, we are able to get all that information. That is giving us a lot of velocity in our decision making and overall operations.
So that is an in-house model. I mean, you worked on like an existing, say, like the ChatGPT bit. I mean, would you use it to train your data with it to kind of help you answer?
100%, right? Yes. So the thing is, these are frameworks that are available already in the market, and we have to take it and sort of fit it inside our context. And definitely, like you said, if I'm going to ask in Mumbai what was the sales yesterday, and I need to get an answer, I cannot go ask ChatGPT, which is an openly available tool. So obviously, in my ecosystem, I need to give that context to my ecosystem's LLM so that it is valuable for us. It is giving third wave specific knowledge to us. At the same time, to look at it from the other way also, I need to make sure that all this information is not going to public so that I'm putting my company in jeopardy. So we do have guardrails in place for that, so that all of this is happening in an efficient and meaningful way.
Can you talk about, I think there's an app also for third wave, right?
Yeah.
So is AI integrated in that? I mean, how does that work?
Definitely. I think AI is a great candidate for personalization at scale, right? So currently we are using AI to enable personalized experience. For example, you come into the application, you're able to find your favorite drink. For example, you're able to find Let me give you an example. There's a user personalization and user product personalization. What I mean by that is, if my product history is very similar to your product history, and we've bought very similar kind of products, and suddenly you've bought a sea salt mocha, there is a very high chance that I will also like that sea salt mocha. So user based recommendations and user product. Like for example, I like these products. People who bought that product also like this product, so I can suggest those products. So those kind of basic recommendations we do, but we are also exploring other possibilities such as AI barista, wherein, for example, classic use case will be you come into the app and you say something like, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling so great today. I had a fight with my boss. What is the coffee that you would recommend? And a barista, AI barista, like much like what a real barista in a cafe would do, we can emulate that experience in the app itself, where the barista will suggest a coffee, and we can say, hey, you know what? Why don't you add a few hazelnut shots to make it a little bit sweeter, or something like that. Okay. So we are planning to explore that possibility in terms of AI baristas also. So personalization and at scale processing data and enabling that. And second is this part of it. Even in our marketing outreach, we use AI. For example, right, like you have a favorite drink. The 10 times that you came, 8 times you ordered a frappe. And I know that you come once in 15 days, for example, right? Yeah. Now, if you have not come after 15 days, just to sweeten the deal a little bit more, using AI, we give automated offers to you, like saying, hey, Vandana, get your favorite drink frappe at 10% off. Mm-hmm. So at scale, we'll be able to deliver offers that is customized to the end user. So that's also something that we are exploring.
Got it. Yeah. But having discussed about AI, where do you think the human touch is still required? As in, like, you can't really say 100% AI at some point. We'll automate everything.
Right.
Do you believe that there will always still be some elements where human is required?
100%, yes. So the way I see it, right, like when I got this cup of coffee from the barista, when she comes here, gives me the coffee, that smile, and asking that one question on, hey, how's your day, right? If a machine comes and asks me, I will not feel the same way, obviously, right? So there is definitely that personal element involved, and especially in a business like this, the barista touch point, that humanness is super important for us to make it happen. And also, if you look at it from the back end part of it, the supply chain operations, etc., I still think humans are very important, right? At the end of the day, AI can facilitate making decisions, but you cannot run the whole thing on AI completely. I'll tell you why I also feel that intuitively, the more and more time I spend with AI, right? See, as humans, right, we have 5 sensory powers: the touch, the sight, the hearing, the smell, the taste, all of that. So from the time we are born, and probably some genetic coding that we have, there's a lot of information that we carry. And from the time we born, we've touched things, we've smelled things, and we've understood the world in a much more comprehensive way than an AI model can. An AI model has just learned from all the textual tokens that are available, textual, video, or some other modalities, but essentially that's all that it has learned, right? Now, to be truly valuable to a human context where it's, empathy and other things, right? I believe that because of the excessive data that we are consuming, the learnings that we have, it is very difficult for AI in the shape and form it is right now for it to be truly like independent, right? There will need to be human interventions at various points to make the whole thing meaningful. The other thing I'll say is AI is going to make humans super effective, right? If you're not using AI, you're really missing the boat. Like what would have taken a whole month for me, I'm able to achieve it in a day, right? Now, if I don't use a tool like that, it's like essentially I can go from Chennai to Bangalore in a plane or in a car, but if I decide to walk, well, that's my decision, right? Yeah. So it's like that. So you need to use AI to stay relevant in the market, but can you replace humans with AI completely? We are not there yet for sure. And the world in the future is too difficult to predict for me, but for now, definitely we're not there, is my 2 cents.
Right. I just had a thought right now is, see, although we say this right now, we are going by, say, you and I would probably like an interaction with a human coming, like how you said, the barista coming, asking how is your day or whatever. Mm-hmm. But say with the newer generations or the newer set of people, where they are kind of, I mean, their behavior is also very different in terms of I want it quick, I want it fast. I mean, I don't want to spend time on anything else. I mean, don't you feel then that is kind of, we're setting into a future where you want to just mind your own business, get me stuff in the fastest way possible.
Right.
It's okay even if you don't give me the human element.
Yeah,
I mean, don't you think that's also a possibility?
See, we are going into behavioral psychology, but
Yeah,
just
no.
not my core expertise.
Uh,
But my 2 cents is, see, these are all trends that happened, right? Like one generation, probably some of the kids that were born during the COVID era, like they got the sort of the prime of their life during those 2 years, might have a certain impact in the way they interact with people. All of those things will be there. And these are like a decade sort of an impact. Maybe
Absolutely.
the generation after this will be very extroverted. You never know about it. But in principle, what I believe is there is a human element that we all need, just like we all need sleep, right? What a healthy smile that you just see.
Yeah.
Not even like you having a conversation, but just a smile, even if you don't interact much, makes me feel safe, and I think makes a lot of people feel safe.
Yeah.
So even if, for example, I'm drinking my coffee, maybe I don't want interaction and I'm an introvert and I don't want to do it. Intuitively, I feel that a human coming and giving it to me makes me feel safe in some way, right? In a lot of ways. I mean, even in the US, right? I read this thing recently. Maybe the percentage of accidents by automated cars is less, but somehow all of us feel it is safer humans driving it instead of a machine doing a mistake is penalized a lot more, right? So that human touch, maybe not very explicit, but that is required in my opinion.
Got it. So that's more, like you said, the psychological, the behavioral aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, what about you? Do you dab with a lot of AI tools?
Yeah.
I mean, what is your take on the whole AI ecosystem right now with agentic AI going on? Or say with vibe coding? I mean, have you,
Yeah.
I mean, are you a vibe coder?
Yeah. So by how I imagine myself is two things, right? Two words that describe me in my self identity, so to speak. One is explorer, second is builder. These are my core identities, right? I love exploring new things and I love building stuff. So I think AI falls right into that space. So I have been dabbling a lot with AI right from the time it came about, for me to understand what is possible, what is not possible, etc. And I've been spending a lot of time on learning from others, talking to a lot of people, building stuff also. I've also built a mobile application for my own understanding called Travefa, which is a travel app. And I learned a lot from that, like what works, what it is basically a agentic AI for group travel management, end to end, right? So that learning was super helpful for me to sort of implement in various other things that I do in my life, including third wave. So specifically speaking, right, like the vibe coding part has 100% made a huge difference. Like for example, a single founder or a couple of people together can accomplish what a 50-member team used to do in the past, right? And in much higher velocity, right? If you really know what you're doing, how to vibe code, how to give context to the LLM so that it understands your code and it is able to contribute something to it, those are invaluably multipliers in terms of efficiency. Also, from a personal standpoint, when I use these LLMs, when I have a particular question or if I have to solve a problem, today, first thing I do is I go take a first stab at Claude, OpenAI, Llama, so that I get a baseline on, hey, this is how I need to solve this problem. Then I start using AI to refine it until a certain point where it's ready to go, right? While having said that, what I observe is we need to be super careful about using AI. Hallucination is 100% real, right? Recently, for example, I went and asked a certain question to AI and it did not have the context. Then it made up an answer and it gave it to me. But inherently, what is happening amongst all of us is because it's so awesome, right? We are able to, when you use OpenAI or any of these tools, it seems like it knows everything and it says it with so much confidence that we tend to believe it. So I saw some of my friends having an argument and they come and show, hey, look, ChatGPT is saying this. You know, we are used to it because in the past we said, hey, Google, we searched it and this is the reference for that. And we're able to, people used to believe that, right? we can't take the same liberty, at least at this point of time with AI, because it tends to hallucinate. It tends to give answers that are not fully accurate, and we have to be careful. And I think this is something that the governments or the authorities should be super careful about, because misinformation can spread like a wildfire if these things are not set under control. So my point is, we definitely use a lot of AI tools, and I also use AI tools for building systems with intelligence in it. For example, customer journeys where customers can come and ask a question, and instead of a human answering the question, you can build a whole AI system to do it, right? So popular delivery platforms in India have already started experimenting with integrating with OpenAI and other systems, where using chat as a modality, you will be able to place orders, right? So these are all technologies that I need to be aware about and implement in third wave and other initiatives that I've taken.
Good. Talking about, you spoke about how AI is used to a very large extent, and we're talking about the ecosystem. According to you, what would be some of these tools, if say for a person who wants to understand more about this field, learn about it, dabble with some tools, what would you suggest? Are there any specific tools or any path that they can take to kind of be proficient at it?
Yeah, fantastic question. So, fundamentally, I think a lot of us are using chat interfaces with LLMs. Popular one being, ChatGPT, where we ask questions and we get responses, and that is a great starting point. But if you want to start building more technologies and understanding how AI workflows work, a great starting point is N8N. What is N8N? It is a AI workflow automation tool. And it is so intuitive that anybody, it's got a graphical user interface. You can build your whole chain in terms of how the flow should happen. I'll give you an example. For example, you want to do a marketing campaign for third wave. So you have a marketing calendar for the whole year in Excel, right? Now, what you can do is that can be the trigger. So the N8N tool can go over the marketing calendar, and it understands that, okay, now Diwali is coming up. Now it can trigger a set of actions based on that. And in that workflow, marketing for Diwali, you can integrate AI at every point. For example, there can be an AI for competitive analysis, like what are the competitors doing. There can be an AI for what is happening in Instagram in today. Like there's a trend that's happening, right? And there can be another AI that handles all of this AI to sort of stitch it all together. For example, there can be an AI to understand for example, first it says, okay, I have to do a Diwali campaign. Let me find out what is the trend in Mumbai, trend in Chennai. And then all the trends is there in context. Then we understand, okay, we have to put a LinkedIn post, we have to put an Instagram post, and we have to do some performance marketing with Google Ads or whatever, right? So it understands, okay, these three we need to do. For LinkedIn post, generate an image and then write a text. We get an approval from a human, yes or no, and then you process it. Similarly, in Instagram, generate text, which is a different context, a different world. You can do that. Third is performance marketing. You can integrate it with Google Ads. It will run the campaigns, see which campaigns are doing well, boost it, which campaigns are not doing well, suppress it. And maybe one thing is doing well in Mumbai, one thing is doing well in Chennai. All of that you can automate. And that's a great place to start in terms of, it's visual, it's very easy to understand. N8N is a great place to start.
Right? So what you defined is something like an agent for these.
Yeah, these are agentic AI. Agentic AI experiences.
Okay.
But the great thing is in N8N, you can get a visual interface and you'll be able to understand it. And it's great for the first 5 or 6 projects, essentially, right? But when you get more and more mature, the next step should be OpenAI SDK, which OpenAI SDK means there is a framework that OpenAI has shared. That is, you can use any model. It's from OpenAI, but you can use DeepSeek or Llama or any model. But you can use that to sort of automate the various capabilities. Like first you have a major model, and then there are sub models, there are tools, API calls that these models can do. All that you'll be able to understand. But understanding the capabilities of OpenAI SDK is critical. After that, I would recommend understanding Crew AI, which is how a group of agentic models can work together. LangChain, LangGraph, which is once again a more versatile tool for building agentic AI software. And once you understand this, in 2025, whatever is possible, you will be able to do. And it's pretty like basically this LangChain and LangGraph is enabling workflows where models can take decisions. For example, booking a ticket is something that LangChain and LangGraph can do. And enabling a chat interface where you type something, and in that context, it's able to route it to different channels, and it's able to get the answers and give a meaningful experience to the end user. Those are possible. So these should be the next step in terms of your learning. And last is MCP, Model Context Protocol, where it's basically like the USB drive of LLMs. Now, before what happened, there used to be something called RAG, which means what you used to call an API, parse it, and give the context to the model so that it can make some decisions. But that was getting out of hand. Like it was just too much. Different models talk different formats. It's getting too much. So they came up with MCP, Model Context Protocol, so that it is standardized and models are able to communicate with other systems and even between two models in a more scalable manner. So if you learn all of these things, I think from a tech perspective, you'll be in a great place to build agentic AI experiences.
And all these are, say, on a free basis, or do you have to invest on, like, say,
trying all this? So all the tools that I said are open source. You can learn it. That's not a problem. N8N, you can use a free version, but then if there's also a version that you can download and host it in your own servers and use it. But if you're using the SaaS version, you'll have to pay for that. The second thing is OpenAI. You have to get the API key. If you're using that, you have to pay for that. But of course, you can also use Llama, which is the Facebook's Meta's model. You can run it locally and you can sort of bypass that. But I see the quality of results from Claude and OpenAI to be more meaningful at this point of time. DeepSeek or other models also you can use. So main two expenses will be the API key and if you're using N8N, the SaaS model of it will be paid.
And have you tried Quen model? A lot of these Chinese AI models.
Chinese AI models, I think the source of all these models, the architecture came from the West, from United States for the most of it. There are a lot of innovations that are happening in the Chinese contributions. The way I see it, all their development is more open source, right? Like you see DeepSeek or Quen or all these models. It is something that I'm able to quickly take and sort of use in a different kind of way. I believe that it is great, but a little concerned about the guardrails in terms of it is open source, so somebody can take and do something with it. What can happen? That part of it is a little doubtful. But of course, when I use paid models from OpenAI and other Western sort of products, it is giving me great results at this point of time. Also, I'd like to add that it is getting commoditized. Right. So when I started building about a year and a half before, the cost of tokens was so high. Like I remember in my application Travafa, one API call and it had to do a lot of processing and get back. It was nearly 40 rupees per API call and I couldn't scale it. And now it is less than 1 rupee, right? Within a year and a half. So what is happening as the days go by, it is getting more and more commoditized, more and more affordable. Recently, sometime back, even OpenAI reduced their O3 model by 80%, right? So they are making it affordable for everybody to use, and that is going to create a wave of applications enabled through AI, agentic AI experiences.
And just one question on the AI ecosystem as a whole. I mean, now you look at the crazy valuations that are happening. Everyone betting on AI because, like you said,
right.
I mean, you can't just stay away from it. But this is just your perspective. Do you think that we are in some sort of like a big AI hype? I mean, this is all going to go up at some point.
True. So the thing is, I think I take a lot of inspiration from the dot-com bubble that happened in the early 2000s, right? So how I see it is the core technology is something that is super valuable and it is here to stay, right? If you really look at how AI has progressed from the last couple of years, where it started and where it is right now, it has been exponential and everybody is astounded upon what it can do and shocked in terms of the output that we are getting, right? So even 5-6 years back, there are deterministic system and non-deterministic systems, right? Like for example, all tech systems were based on rules which people had to come and code, right? Now there is a new technology where it is able to give you answers with minimum inputs that is non-deterministic. Like basically, there's a thinking mind behind it, and it's revolutionary, right? And this technology itself is going to be there, and it's going to change the way we function in the days to come, 10 hundreds of years. That is a guarantee. But how the market, the economics plays out in terms of the bubble that you said, even the dot-com bubble burst, and then companies like Amazon and other companies emerged out of it, Google's and other companies emerged out of it. So I think some kind of consolidation will happen at some point of time, but the core technology itself is something that is going to be long lasting, in my opinion, and it's going to have a very profound impact on the whole human species and probably the earth at large, is my understanding.
Correct.
Yeah.
And just to round up the whole conversation, just coming back to the whole the way operations run at Third Wave.
Sure.
I mean, looking at coffee chain outlets as a whole, what do you think people don't realize? I mean, of say the difficulty of maybe a certain aspect of running a coffee outlet,
Right.
something which can be as simple, but people don't realize it's quite difficult and it's not the way that it seems to be.
Right. See, I would say it is discipline and consistency, right? What I mean by that is, see, generally we are in the startup world, right? You go talk to any friends group, one of the ideas that they would have gotten is, hey, let's start a cafe, right? It seems,
I also have that thought.
right?
Always.
It seems very easy on the outward layer, but actually it is very difficult. You need a lot of discipline and consistency to make it happen. What I mean by that is just one thing, right? Cafes have to run 365 days a year for it to make economic sense, correct? And what that means is, for example, if you're a founder of a cafe and you don't have people to run it, systems and processes, which means until it becomes that, you have to stay in the cafe 365 days, whether it's Diwali or all your friends are going on a road trip, you can't go. Crazy stuff, right? Like you have to give that level of commitment and discipline to make it happen, right? Now, even after getting to that point, right? Now you need to make sure that discipline, consistency is there everywhere. Like for example, you go have one cup of Third Wave coffee in Lavelle Road over here, and you go have another cup of coffee, the same coffee in Delhi, it needs to taste the same. That is not easy, right? Like you can cook at home, every day there's a small variation, that's fine. But people come with a certain expectation on coffee tasting a certain way because that's how they like it, and you need to maintain that consistency. That goes into every facet of running a cafe, right? Like interiors or how the baristas behave. So many things you have to maintain that consistency, and that discipline and consistency at scale is super hard. Is
So
my
that
two
is
cents.
something
Yeah.
is overlooked.
Yeah.
So then how do you stand against your competitors who also have a lot of outlet, Starbucks, Blue Tokai? I mean, if you can just, if you can just highlight what is the edge Third Wave has.
See, I look at it like this. If you look at the whole Indian market, right, there is a growing middle class, right? If you look at, say, 10, 15 years back, it was a pyramid, right? Few people on the top and a lot of people in the bottom. There is a definite upward mobility that's happening in the Indian market for sure. The per capita income is growing. More and more people have disposable incomes. And it's very evident, right? Like, for example, I'm more used to international travel. I'm more used to going to 5-star hotels than probably my parents did. So my point here is there is a big middle class, upper middle class market that's emerging every year in India, and there is space for everybody. How I see it is every competitor or every business, forget even the coffee space, if they are very clear about their identity and what their value proposition is for the end user, they will tend to succeed. So as Third Wave, we are very clear about what is the market that we are going after, the value proposition for our end customer, which is great coffee and great ambience and hospitality when they come in, and the loyalty programs, and all of that is our core value proposition. Other competitors might have other value propositions, and they will also thrive. We can also thrive. And as long as we stick to our core identity, I think India is a great place to do business at this point of time.
Correct. And just coming to the end of this conversation, if you could just throw light on your journey.
Sure.
I mean, I know we were talking about it before the interview. Quite an interesting one. And you have even been a founder yourself. So what has been your biggest learnings throughout this journey? And are you using any of that and say now that you're a CTO of Third Wave?
Yeah.
I mean, where are you bringing those learnings?
So, like I said before, the two key words that I personally define my self identity with is one is explorer and builder, right? And throughout my whole life, I've done a lot of exploration or risks in my life. I've also done a lot of building. What I mean, to give you some examples, right? I started my first company called Buy Bazaar in 2011, which was a online supermarket, essentially facilitating purchase of essentials like groceries, etc., at the convenience of a home or an office. I believe that if I had sustained for a little bit longer, I'd have caught the quick commerce wave. But quite honestly, I did some suboptimal decisions because at that point of time, I did not have a few information, and that is part of any startup's journey, right? There is risk involved, and eventually I had to shut it down. But the journey itself was fantastic. I learned a lot about business, about people, about technology. Amazing experience to go through, essentially, and that has definitely had an impact in how I operate teams, how I set goals and how I go about it. Definitely, that's been a truly inspirational journey for me. And also another dimension, right? I'm also a musician. In fact, I took a year and a half to completely focus as a musician, and at one point of time, I tried to become a full-time musician. What I realized is reconciling my creative sort of explorations along with financial thing. Doing music for money was not sitting well for me, so I gave up that ambition. But it's still a very serious hobby for me, and I truly believe that my learnings as a musician somehow, right, it goes to your first question, right, how humans cannot be completely replaced. My learnings as a musician somehow adds value, for example, as empathy in my leadership skills. That definitely adds value to the overall way in which I operate and I conduct myself, right? So that has definitely been there. Apart from that, I've also been I've had global experiences. I've worked in Singapore, I've worked in South America, in Santiago, Chile, did my master's in the US, and also worked for Amazon in the Alexa team. So I've been around, worked in different parts of the world. So all these experiences definitely weigh heavily on my contributions to Third Wave and how we should go about our business. And also as a builder, right, like I'm very close to the code, and in Third Wave they also give me my space to sort of build new things that can really add value to our customers, delight our customers, and make our businesses more efficient. And that is a great space for me. Quite honestly, in a very serious business, this is my first CXO level role. That is one of the reasons why I thoroughly enjoy this space. Understanding the business aspirations, understanding the business goals, and orienting technologies to align with that to deliver value to all stakeholders, customers, employees, and the business leadership, investors, etc. Has been a fascinating journey for me overall.
And I must ask, when you said you were a founder or say as a musician, did you spend a lot of time in cafes coming up with the ideas of what to do?
Of course, yes. I still remember those times vividly. There was a cafe next to my house. We used to gather all of us together because at home, it's not a best. You don't want to work where you sleep. Personally, for me, it's like that.
Right.
So cafes were always a great place for me to sit and have those conversations.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ashwin. This has truly been a fun conversation.
Same here, Vandana.
Next time you grab your coffee cup from here, think about the tech decisions that go behind it. The code, the choices, and the brew, of course. It's no wonder that the cafe culture in Bangalore and the tech ecosystem here go hand in hand. It's almost like it was coded to fit each other. Anyway, until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, stay hungry, stay foolish. Not me. Thank you. I am famished. Ooh. Why aren't you cutting?